TGIF, everybody. Thanks for getting up with us today. Welcome into Undisputed. I'm Jen Hale. That is Skip Bayless, and that is Shannon Sharp. Good morning, gentlemen.
I'm going to tell you the high form of flattery. You just couldn't have me to have my number. You had to go get Skip on your chain.
Well, I've had it before you started wearing your number to try to compete with my chain, and you failed miserably because mine is quality over quantity. And mine is real, and yours is cubic zirconia.
Need to see these?
Yep.
Well, I need to go get my money back, even after all these years.
Hey, we got a huge football weekend coming up, starting with that barn burner down in Tuscaloosa tomorrow. Somebody's going to get their barn burned.
Who picked the spread?
Maybe it's my Commodores.
You'll get the doors blown up.
Well, who's Savannah State play?
Hey, you know,
I don't know. It's probably the Little Sisters of the Poor.
I know we beat Vanderbilt. Yeah. We pay y'all to come play us.
That would be a matchup. You're on. Let's do it.
We're going to give Vanderbilt $500,000 to come take this L.
Neutral site.
Once y'all
go
start
anywhere.
diving into college football, we'll lose the whole show. It'll be 2.5 hours. Yeah. We have so much to unpack this morning, guys. Let's start up in Boston, where the Celtics have suspended coach Ime Udoka for all of this upcoming season, the entire 22-23 period, for violations of team policies. There's no current decision about his future with the Celtics beyond this season. The Athletic reports that the Celtics first became aware of Udoka's consensual relationship with a female member of the organization in July, a few months ago. But the woman recently accused Udoka of making unwanted comments toward her, which led to the team investigation. Shannon, very serious topic here. What's your reaction to the latest developments in this?
Skip, when we talked about this yesterday, what did I say?
You said it.
I say it always starts out as consensual. Mm-hmm. And then when it gets found out, somebody's going to say these were unwarranted advances. Mm-hmm. And this is what the organization and this is what corporations and businesses are afraid of. This is why they try to keep this out of the workplace.
Or the relationship just goes sideways. And
it goes sideways, and then what? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to get you back. Mm-hmm. Skip, this seems like a very hard, and I've always felt that this seemed very harsh. I just hope this is a one-off. This is a one-time, this is a one situation. I hope it's not a situation where other women within the organization were to come forward and say this is something happened, because this seems like an awful harsh stance given. Now, it started, everybody was reporting consensual. Yeah. And in the last 12 to 16 hours, it seemed to be these were unwarranted advances. I believe that they're gearing up to relieve him of his duties eventually. I think that's kind of where we're headed.
It feels that way.
I think, for me, just sitting back looking at it, Skip, it looks like they were hoping he would resign. You know, a lot of time when situations like this arise, somebody's like, you know what, I've decided that, blah, 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 and I'm just going to, I'm going to resign. They were kind of hoping that Ime Udoka do that. He's like, and it seems to me like, nah, I'm not going anywhere. Nope, that's not going to happen. But I was always afraid this was what would happen, is that what seemingly starts out as consensual, or what is said as consensual, somebody gets mad, somebody feels that they got wrong, somebody, all of a sudden, he's no longer interested, he's interested in someone else. I didn't get the position that I thought I deserved or I thought I was promised, and then here it goes. Now the Boston Celtics or some other corporation, it just so happens we're talking about the Boston Celtics, but other corporations, and this is why they try to keep this out of the workplace. And that's what it always happens. It happens like this. And so for me, says they learned of this in July. Mm-hmm.
So it would be obviously after the finals.
After the finals. Mm-hmm. But Skip, and she is married to someone that's a high-ranking official in the Celtics organization. So obviously that's not going to play very well.
No.
So, bro, look, I get it. And his situation is his situation, whatever that is, with the high-profile celeb that he was in a relationship with, but they do share a child together.
They do.
Bro, you couldn't get somebody single? You couldn't get it. Not one person you could find that was single. Not one. And I get it, Skip. Look.
Shannon, you know how these things happen.
You all the time. You there all the time. What is a coach? You're on the road. You got 82 games. So 41 of those games you're on the road. And then playoffs and then the close contact. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how it happened, but I just know it's a bad look, and organizations and corporations try to keep this out of the workplace. It's going to happen. But normally it ends up bad. And when it ends up bad, it blows back on the corporation because they're like, you should. How do I know? I mean, it's hard because you do a great job of keeping it secret at first. And then somebody else finds out, then you make somebody mad, they'll go tell HR, then HR gets involved, and obviously this is an HR violation because of the code. You can't do this. But Skip, it seems like they're gearing up to relieve him of his duty at some point in time down the road. I just hope it's a situation, this was a one-off. This was one terrible mistake that he made with this individual lady, and there's not another lady or another ladies.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to preface my reaction to this with a little bit of what you and I spoke of yesterday. I came up in this business through a period. You came up playing in this game through a period starting in 1990 up into the 2000s when relationships between front office, staffers, coaches, players, and people who worked within the organization were absolutely commonplace.
Yes.
It was, I'm not exaggerating, rampant, maybe for me even before you, because I started through the 70s and 80s. When if you weren't, you were kind of a weirdo. You know, like it's just like everybody did this and nobody thought twice about it.
Correct.
Because nobody ever sued anybody else for the fallout of it. So I'll be the first to admit, in my younger days, my unmarried days, I had a couple of flings with people I worked with, and not once did I ever, for a moment, think, this is dangerous. No, I just thought it was the way it was.
Right.
Because around me, it was happening everywhere.
Correct.
And it was so easy to fall into any sort of a relationship, even a fling with somebody, because you're around them constantly.
All the time.
And you become friends, and then maybe you become lovers, and then it flames out. And I know in both those cases you go on and it's a little awkward, but it's okay.
Right.
And nobody thought twice about it because it never caused any real damage that I was aware of.
Right.
We're in a new day.
Yes.
A new age, a new time, and it's a better time. And I have absolutely no problem with this because it is dangerous for all the reasons we have seen in this Me Too era that we're in. But this goes even beyond Me Too. This is into workplace violations of rights and privacy rights and all sorts of things that can rear their ugly heads here. But it becomes litigation. It becomes lawsuits.
Right.
It becomes extremely dangerous to the corporation.
Yes.
So I'm with you. It feels like, not knowing all the, so to speak, intimate details here, it feels like a guy I have a lot of respect for as a basketball coach, a guy I campaigned for years on end when he was sitting at the right hand of God the Father Almighty in San Antonio. I campaigned for Ime to get a job, and I couldn't figure out why don't you get a job? He looked the part, he acted the part. Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili just raved about him. That they seemed to go to him more than they went to Pop because they were a little afraid of Pop. So I thought, well, surely he's going to get a job, and I don't know what happened.
And he's closer to their age than Pop.
That is correct. When he finally got a job, did he not seize the opportunity?
Yes.
Because this is one of the great rookie head coaching jobs in the history of this league. They started off rocky, and then all of a sudden they close on a 28-7 run, 28-7 run. He became the first rookie head coach to win multiple Game 7s in his first playoff run. That's impressive.
Very.
He obviously got to the finals. His team sort of self-destructed in the finals, but their trademark was defense, and they played at the highest level, and they absolutely humiliated and annihilated the preseason favorites from last year, the Brooklyn Nets, featuring Kevin Durant. We're going to talk about him versus LeBron again in just a few minutes. But the point was, as a pure basketball coach, I am the biggest fan. I had no idea this was going on. If, in fact, this is the end of Ime in Boston, which it well might be, obviously, he'll become a hot head coaching candidate for somebody else. I don't know how. It depends how much more of the baggage sort of comes out about this.
It's going to be like a faucet. It'll drip, drip, drip.
It'll drip. Yep, I agree. But I'm going to hope for his sake that he gets another shot.
I do too.
And if he does, I believe he will be very, very good wherever his next opportunity arises.
Skip, I think his resume speaks for itself. And as you mentioned, all the things that you said, first-year head coach, win 2 Game 7s, beat the defending champs, beat the preseason team that everybody thought was going to win the championship, and then goes 6 and loses in the finals 6 games to the eventual champ, the Golden State Warriors. But this is you know, and it's easy to say, man, how did he put himself? We were having this conversation, having a conversation in the gym with a guy, and he's like, man, I don't see anything wrong with it. I say, I know you don't, because you're looking at it from an individual standpoint.
Absolutely.
You have to look at it from a corporation standpoint.
Absolutely.
Because they're the one that's at most at risk.
Yep.
They're the most that have the most skin in the game. Okay, she says this happened. Okay, but they're going to hold a corporation responsible, because this is a workplace. You've got to control. If you didn't know, you should have known. It's kind of like what was it, Skip? Bountygate. Sean Payton got here. Sean Payton like, I ain't no. Roger Goodell said you should have known. You're the head coach. What they're saying, the HR and the president and CEO, if you didn't know, you should have known. So they're the ones that's going to have to, if she were to sue and says, okay, I want 10, 15, $20 million, they don't want to have to pony that up. Corporations don't want to have to do that, so they put it